All right, what's up, guys? So I'm gonna get started today by just taking a look at the upcoming patch 13.10. Unfortunately, the patch is delayed by an extra 24 hours, so instead of normally being out on Wednesday, it's gonna be out on Thursday. But there's a lot of stuff going on in this patch. Couple new items being brought back, one returning item, Static Shiv, and a lot of items are getting adjusted. Quite a few buffs, systems being changed, big shakeup to the game. Going to definitely be changing how every game is being played. So let's just go ahead and start cracking on here. So first up is Akshan. Akshan is getting a passive AP ratio added to his damage, taking a nerf to his shield from his passive just because they felt like in compensation for getting some increased damage with an AP ratio, they're gonna be hitting his survivability. They're also adding a Q AP ratio to his so a Q or an AP ratio to his Q that gives him, it looks like, some movement speed. When hitting a champion, he gains 5% per 100 AP. This is a change that's going to be coming to a lot of ADCs. They're adding a lot of AP ratios upcoming. Talking about the new Ginsu's Rage Blade, so we'll get to that later. This game and more being streamed over on my Twitch. Submit your games in my Discord for review. See, Kalista is also getting some AP ratios added to her E. Let's see here, to the slow, 5% per 100 AP, as well as a 20% AP ratio to the damage. Kindred, once again, also receiving AP ratios to her W and her E. Looks like to her W it is 20%, and to her E it is a slow of 5% per 100 AP. Seems pretty consistent so far across the board. Akshan, Vayne, Kindred, it's been 5% per 100 AP. So let's see here. Neeko. Neeko, after the rework, it looks like they felt like she needed some additional buffs to make her a jungler. It looks like they really want her to be played in the jungle, and it's not performing as well as they thought. So they're adding 5 bonus damage at level 1 to the Q, 10 at 2, it looks like 5 per level, maxing out at 25 at 5 points, an additional 75 damage to monsters on her W, uh, and a 20% increased AP ratio on her R. Uh, let's see here. I had a video where I actually went through like a jungle scenario with Neeko, and she had an extremely fast clear. Was able to full clear prior to 3 minutes and 30 seconds where the scuttle crab spawned. So these buffs are very big, especially this additional 25 damage on her auto attack passive from her W. This might be pushing the meta into. I mean, there's already a big shakeup coming here with a lot of assassin items being touched, so AD assassin junglers might be getting pushed out, but this might be pushing Neeko to be one of the top picks on this patch. So be definitely looking out for some Neeko jungles coming near you. And then for the final one of those AP ratios getting added, we got Vayne here. She is receiving a 50% AP ratio added to her Q. So first up, we got the critical strike item changes. Let's see here. So Bloodthirster. Bloodthirster is gaining 3% additional lifesteal, as well as when you are above 50% health, you're gaining an additional 10 to 40 attack damage, scaling based on level. That is quite a big buff to Bloodthirster. It doesn't look like they're changing that it's not a mythic, it's still a legendary item. That seems very good to me. I mean, just pretty much every AD was already building this item. It was already considered really good, and they've just made it a lot better. So I guarantee you're going to be seeing this item almost like basically every ADC now. Gale Force is going to be maintaining that its mythic status. It's the only AD crit item that is going to be remaining a mythic. So let's see here. They've added 7% bonus movement speed. They've reduced 5% of its attack speed. 5 attack damage. They've increased how much it costs. Sorry, no, it's actually the same cost. They've changed the components of it from Noon Quiver, Cloak of Agility, and Pickaxe, and 625 gold to BF Sword, Zeal, Longsword. So they've removed Noon Quiver out of its build path, which is a little bit like a little. It hurts pretty hard, I would say, for ADCs. Most ADCs were recalling on Noon Quiver. So let's see here. This is like really changing up bot lane. It looks like they don't want ADCs to be going first item Noon Quiver anymore, which is kind of like core to their ADC item change going on here. And then the active, it looks like, has received a little bit of a change. They've increased the damage that it's done and increased the maximum execution threshold. And the passive now empowers each of your legendary items with 5 attack damage. I believe it was something else before, but I don't remember what it was. The Typhoon version, the Ornn upgraded version, is keeping consistent with the 5% attack speed nerf. It's actually a 10 attack damage nerf, and then the the bonus movement speed goes to 9%. Ginsu's Rageblade, one of the new mythics. They've gotten rid of Kraken Slayer and Immortal Shield Bow as mythics, and they've replaced it with Ginsu's Rageblade, which is now 3,200 gold from 2,600 gold. Builds out of Amplifying Tome, Rage Knife, and Pickaxe, and 690 gold. Before it was a Cloak of Agility, Rage Knife, and Dagger. That's actually nicer of a combine. Makes it a little bit better for somebody who's trying to build in the first backs. If you're trying to get this item immediately, because Pickaxe is a good buy on a recall. Rage Knife is okay. And you're pretty much Amp Tome is probably always going to be the last thing that you're building here on this for these combinations. See here, it has 30 attack damage, 30 ability power, 25% attack speed, and the new passive is that attacks apply 30 magic on hit damage, and it converts your critical strike chance into up to 150 more. Basic attacks grant a stack of 8% attack speed up to 4 times, capping at 32%. At max stacks, every third attack applies on-hit effects twice. Empowers each of your other legendary items with 5% armor pen and 6% mage pen, which is hybrid penetration, makes it really useful. This is going to be built on a lot of your lane bullies in bot lane. Like you saw the people who were thinking they're going to be building it immediately, which is Akshan, Vayne. You're going to be seeing this on Kindred. You're going to be seeing this on Kalista. You're gonna be seeing on Kog'Maw. Like this is gonna be probably the go-to ADC mythic for the beginning part of this, only because hybrid penetration is usually very strong, and all those champions now with the added AP ratios, they're gonna be doing magic damage as well. So the upgraded Ornn version just has a couple extra stats. Hearthbound Axe is getting a change. Let's see here. A lot of mythic and legendary updates. They are changing the efficiency on this item. So it is going up 100 gold in cost, and it is being changed to a combine of longsword, dagger, longsword plus 100 gold. That's nice. That makes it you don't have to spend very much money on combined gold. You get to have an extra component. Those are always nicer, so that way you're not looking at a weird combined cost. And it gains 5 attack damage. So, Immortal Shield Bow, like I mentioned before, is getting demoted from Mythic to Legendary. It is going down 400 golden cost. It is being changed. It looks like Noon Quiver is also being removed from Immortal Shield Bow. I think Noon Quiver might not be an item anymore, but we'll be seeing that later. Confirming that later if that's the case. Is now going Pickaxe, Cloak of Agility into Vamps, and Vamp Scepter and 625 gold combo. Not changing very many of its stats, just losing its attack speed. Being shifted more into, instead of it was such a core item for so many ADCs, they're shifting it purely to make it just a defensive item for ADCs, and they want every ADC to be able to build this item if they feel like they need a defensive item. So the lifeline stat is 15 to 35 AD for 8 seconds. Let's see here. Instead, that was what it was before. Now it is 30% attack speed for 8 seconds. That's probably nice. That's actually way better because you're going to be having lifesteal. It's just going to get you many more attacks off to get lifesteal back on while you're getting attacked. The AD didn't really make much of a difference, so especially because all the AD items have lost their attack speed. So I think it's good. You'll be seeing that item probably third or fourth item, especially when people are against assassins. Infinity Edge is now also being shifted to the Mythic. So that's our 3 Mythics. We got Infinity Edge, we have Ginsu's Rage Blade, and we have Gale Force. See here, the cost is the same. The item build is the same. The attack damage, everything is identical. See here, they changed the perfection passive. They removed it, which doubled your or give you extra crit damage. They just turned that into a bonus critical strike damage. And your mythic passive is it empowers each of your other legendary items with 5 attack damage. So this is before this was the Gale Force passive. And the Orin upgraded version has 100 AD. This is because it no longer has the fact that you needed 40% crit chance to be able to turn this on. I mean, this used to be you're going back many seasons, 4 or 5 seasons now. This used to be an item that ADCs were building first. I wouldn't be surprised if people start going back to it just because it's pretty standard, but I don't think, to me, it doesn't leap out as a very attractive first option as an item. I wouldn't be surprised if the better players are not building Infinity Edge first and maybe second. Kershi Shard is receiving a change from attack speed to attack damage, uh, combining it with longsword plus 350 gold instead of dagger and 400. And the unique passive jolt is the same. So really seem to be shifting attack speed out of all of the AD items. We want ADs to have to build items that have attack speed on their own instead of getting attack speed from most of their mythics. Kraken Slayer being demoted from mythic tier to legendary tier, an additional, once again, a 400 gold nerf, or 400 gold buff. It's been 400 gold cheaper. Let's see here. Noon Quiver still is an item. It's still on Kraken Slayer here, so we got, it's being changed from pickaxe to recurve bow and 400 gold. It's losing 25 attack damage, gaining 5% attack speed, keeping its 20% critical strike chance. Every third auto attack applies 20 plus 60% total AD plus 45% AP bonus damage. Once again, that's another hybrid thing they've changed. They've just added AP damage to Kraken Slayer. Subsequent triggers on the same target within 6 seconds increase this damage by 50% up to a maximum of 100% increased damage. This is a crazy item. They're making this item and Ginsu's like extremely busted. I would not be surprised now that Kale's gonna be crazy with this. Everybody who's a hybrid attack speed champion is going to be building this and Rage Blade, and they are gonna be the top echelon of 80 carries this patch. This is you're gonna be seeing Kog'Maw back. You're gonna be seeing Vaynes. You're gonna be seeing every champion they've changed originally. You're gonna be seeing like this is nuts. It's kind of this is a big change. Yeah, Kale can abuse this. Teemos might be abusing this. Like this is kind of nuts. With that, because Mercurial Scimitar gives you magic resistance, and now everybody's gonna be doing a lot more magic damage. They're giving you 10% more magic resistance just to make it a reason why people could buy it. People were not fucking building this item before. 10 magic resistance, not really changing much, but makes it better for the times you do build it. Attack speed Nautilus, yeah, it's definitely possible. Mortal Reminders gaining 5 AD, changing the exact same, or being the same thing. They've already really changed Grievous Wounds that it almost feels like Grievous Wounds doesn't matter. I don't think ADs really build Mortal Reminder now. It's mostly on other roles to building Grievous Wounds, and it doesn't really do much. Okay, we've got another mythic. It looks like so we have 4 mythics for ADs. Navori Quickblades is now a mythic. Same cost. The build is the same. Attack damage is the same. Everything looks like it's the same. Its passive is yeah. Basically, we've just shifted that item so that way somebody can't build Navori Quickblades with Ginsu's Rage Blade. That's looks like that was probably their fear. Um, with that change, I don't think we're going to be seeing very much of Navori Quickblades on bot lane. Yeah, we're not going to be seeing them Gangplank either. This might have just killed this item. So before it was being built on some Ezreals, a lot of spell slinging ADs. You got Xayah. Xayah might still be building this. Yeah, I think Xayah would be the only person who's still building this item. But that sad to see. They basically relegated this item that was actually really fun. I think a lot of people enjoyed what this item was bringing to the game. Noon Quiver no longer builds into any mythic items. That's it. That's the update. Don't buy it expecting it to build into a mythic because it won't. It only builds into, as far as I can tell, that one, just the Kraken Slayer. So 1300 gold, like Rush or whatever. It's back to BF Sword Rush, it looks like. Most of the mythics had a BF Sword in them. The only one not having that is Navori and Ginsu's. Phantom Dancer is getting 200 gold cost, and it's being changed from Longsword Zeal Longsword to Hearthbound Axe Zeal 600 gold cost, and it gains 5% attack speed. I don't think that's very good. I think that's it's a weird change to give because most people were not building Phantom Dancer before. Making it more expensive for 5% more attack speed doesn't really make it more attractive. So I'm not too sure. I think the only people who were building it are the people that they already planned on getting the Rage Blade for, so like Vayne. Um, so it's only just another thing being given to Vayne that makes her even stronger with this change. But most people are not. We're not building Phantom Dancer. Rage Knife has, let's see here, gained it's 400 gold more expensive. It's just a straight 600 gold. That 400 gold went straight to the combined cost, which is really shit. That makes it like a terrible item to rush even. Like if this was you can't even go this as your first item. It's actually terrible for that. What they're compensating instead is that it gains the 20% or the 20 magic damage on hit. Attacks grant 15% attack speed. It's like they're trying to make Rage Knife the new Noon Quiver. It's not as good. It's weaker. I was misreading it. It's not on champion attacks only, so I guess it's fine because you can build up the attack speed on the minion wave. So it's just a weird shift. I don't think it's a very attractive first item, even though this passive is here. I don't think it benefits most people except for Kog'Maw maybe. Rapid Fire Cannon is 500 gold more expensive, and the build path is gaining a longsword and another 100 gold in combined cost for 30 flat attack damage, losing 20% attack speed. Attack speed is just gone unless you're building unless you're building Ginsu's. Attack speed is like gone. from every item. This is like, it feels weird to me because it's just they're not really saying anywhere where they're adding attack speed so far. They're just consistently taking it from every item in exchange for like just damage, which only benefits champions that it's basically forcing people that if they need attack speed, they have to go Ginsu's. It's the only option. Yeah, building first, like the first items, it's like going IE doesn't make sense to go first item. Like I was just talking about that earlier, and the only item that like makes sense as a first item rush for the ADs is purely the ones that can abuse the Ginsus. It doesn't feel like anything else. Like all the other mythics don't seem like they're good first items to build. So recurve bows losing 300 cost for an additional losing 10% attack speed. Another hit to attack speed. We keep taking it away just for magic damage specifically on hit, more making people hybrid pen. Runon's Hurricane is losing 5% attack speed in exchange for attacks applying magic damage on hit. We got an additional 10% AD ratio on its Wind Fury bolts. And they now additionally search for any minions in range if no champion can be found. That sounds like a bug fix. I don't know why they're adding that as a feature. More attack speed gone. Static Shiv is back. Maybe that's what they're hoping, is that everybody's gonna be building Static Shiv. It's still not very much attack speed. So Static Shiv is back. Giving people AoE wave clear on champions that didn't usually have it before. I've seen already Ezreals were abusing this on PBE. You could build Static Shiv on AP Ezreal and actually just one-shot a wave with your Q. So we're gaining, it's a 45 attack damage item with 25% attack speed, 20% critical chance for 3,000 gold. Builds out of Noon Quiver, builds out of Cloak of Agility and Kershi Shard. Not very much attack speed for an attack speed item still, but your energized attacks fire Chain Lightning that applies 60 to 170 plus 50% AP bonus magic damage. Once again, we're just putting all ADs are doing magic damage now because for some reason we want AD like AD carry, attack damage carry is just hybrid carry now. Like they deal 120% bonus damage to minions within 600 range. Storm Razor, 300 gold more expensive, 10 more attack damage. It's being changed to a Noon Quiver item with Cloak of Agility and Kershi Shard instead of BF Sword. Let's see here. Storm Razor also energy attacks or energized attacks applies. It's the same Storm Razor passive. It's not changed. Or it is changed a little bit. It's magic damage. That's what it's changed. Of course, it's magic damage. Collector gains 6 lethality. I mean, no point in even having lethality when all of your items are doing magic damage. They're doing bonus magic damage. The lethality doesn't really matter. Zeal is just, it's 50 gold more expensive and it's just flat out nerfed. Cool. Thank you. It's a great change. 50 gold more expensive, loses 3% attack speed, loses 2% movement speed, and it no longer has the bonus movement speed from its passive. Thank you. What a great item. What a great component. More expensive for less. Let's see here. So ADCs are completely shooken up. That's going to change the ADC meta a lot. You're just looking. I mean, it's just hybrid champions. It's only hybrid ADCs are going to be played, and they're not really. I don't. It's just a straight nerf for every other ADC that's not a hybrid. Those ADC item changes were like better for Kale than ADCs. So that sucks. I thought ADCs personally were like in a good position. I didn't think that they were really a problem. Uh, MSI looks like ADCs are like completely dominant, but that's just not really how it's felt in solo queue. Like there was ways to take ADCs down a peg and shut them down. They weren't really out of control. The only times they got out of control would be the same time any other champion would get out of control because they're got like 20 kills or something crazy. but they've made the meta ADCs that are a problem with the attack speed, like the ones that just instantly burst everybody in a fight with their crazy attack speed. But so now we're taking a look at the assassin items. I do think assassins, specifically AD assassins, have been a little bit out of control. You see that in Kha'Zix jungle being at the forefront. I think Kane's been really frustrating for a lot of people to deal with for Blue Kane. Um, I don't think Kiana or any of the other ones were really a problem anymore, but or Talon even. But assassins are always a class of champions that like feel terrible to play against. So it's like it is what it is. So, but usually people don't really like assassin metas except for assassin players. So let's see here. Duskblade is losing its passive of Night Stalker. When you are going invisible, you no longer gain the bonus attack speed or attack damage on a next to basic attack. And instead, it is now your spells deal up to 15% additional bonus damage based on target's missing health. So it's a bursting item instead of like a looking for. Instead of it starting out, it's more of like an execution thing. I think that's fine. I don't think it's that necessarily a problem. So before, when you would kill somebody within 3 seconds, you would become invisible for 1.5. Now, a champion that you have damaged who dies in 3 seconds, you become untargetable by non-structures. Um, this effect does not destroy incoming missiles and breaks upon taking any action that would normally exit stealth. So instead of being invisible, you just can't be targeted, just like how when Viego takes over a soul after he kills somebody. But the difference is you can still be hit by skill shots, it sounds like. Doesn't destroy missiles. So aka or no, so it doesn't destroy incoming missiles. So if you take a tower shot, it doesn't lose tower aggro for one tower shot. Like you would still take the tower shot. But it also mentions it's not non-structures, so I don't. Oh, it's like if you auto-attack them and then they become untargetable, it still hits them. I I think that's better. I think invisibility is a really unfun thing for most people to deal with, and this just makes it so you see them, but they're just untargetable by auto attacks. I think I'm wondering if they are untargetable by skill shots. They don't really address that because they just say untargetable. If they're untargetable by skill shots, it's a big problem because it's even worse than it was before. Just because you can see that you're gonna see them slowly kill people, like it's even more helpless. But I think you can get hit by skill shots. I'll be taking a look at that when that comes out to guarantee, but it's just the way that it's worded makes me think it's that way. Prowler's Claw is getting removed from Mythic tier to Legendary tier. I think that makes a lot of sense. Prowler's Claw is losing that active where you dash. Um, it didn't really make sense for it to be a Mythic tier. It was only being used by a couple people, and it only get used whenever it was abusable. Anytime it wasn't extremely broken as an item, nobody would build it except for Rek'Sai. And I think Rek'Sai's entire kit had been balanced around this item, and they now get to balance Rek'Sai better, which I think is even better. I think having an item that like a single champion has to build every game kind of sucks for them. So hopefully Rek'Sai can see some buffs. I'm surprised they didn't just buff Rek'Sai immediately on this patch. Feels weird to wait. They knew you can even see here they're talking about Talon and Rek'Sai in this paragraph. They saw this coming that it was going to hurt Rek'Sai and decided that they were going to help her later. I think it makes sense to me to immediately give her something, but maybe they're looking at like a rework to her mobility or something. It's losing 5 attack damage, losing 100 gold cost, losing them 5 ability haste and 3 lethality. The passive is now making it after dashing, blinking, or exiting stealth. Your next attack on an enemy champion deals 85 base plus 45% AD, 65 base plus 30% AD for ranged. On a 10-second CD, if the owner is melee, the attack also slows by 99%. This is a better item. Um, this is going to be really good for Zed. Honestly, They've turned this item from a mythic tier that nobody builds to a legendary tier that every assassin's going to build. Every assassin has a dash, a blink, a stealth. This is extremely good for them. 99% slow is good for everybody who ever gets it. Terrible for the person who's getting slowed, but that's going to help an assassin kill somebody. They aren't going anywhere. 10-second CD makes it nice because it's not getting popped on multiple people in a fight, unless it specifically means, unless this is a per champion cooldown. Normally it would say per champion cooldown. I think it's just a cooldown for the item. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be built on everybody. I don't think it's crazy out of control. You know who actually this will be out of control on? This will be out of control on Kayn, Blue Kayn. Unfortunately, for the player base, this is going to be out of control for Kayn, because now anytime Kayn lands W, he's landing Q. Anytime Kayn comes out of wall, lands Q on somebody, he's for sure landing W. It's not missing. You're just gonna a lot more pops coming from this item for Kayn. Yomu's Ghostblade is being changed to a mythic tier from legendary. It gains 100 gold cost, 5 AD, 5 ability haste, 5% bonus movement speed on the active. Removed haunt passive that grants 40 bonus out of combat movement speed. Okay. In exchange, the new passive haunt movement speed generates spectral shards up to 100. It's like Dead Man's. For each stack, gain 0.4% or 0.4 movement speed, maximum of 40 movement speed. Is it 40% or 40 flat? I think it's flat. Out of combat at maximum stacks, gain 80 to 20 based on level lethality. These stacks reset 3 seconds after dealing damage to an enemy champion while at maximum stacks. Powers each of your legendary items with 7 attack damage. This is the assassin item. So far, this seems like the ultimate assassin item. That passive is really busted. Just gaining. It doesn't. The item doesn't have base lethality, which is nice, but having 20 lethality on like a one item, kind of gross. You're gonna see. They're just gonna rush this. Every assassin's gonna build this first. I feel like they're talking about they think Eclipse and Dustblade are better options. I disagree. I don't think Dustblade compares to this at all. I think because the when assassins become a problem is when they're like roaming. They roam extremely fast, and this just gives them the ability to get places so much quicker and go for their one shot. Like they're just gonna take over the map. They're gonna snowball way faster with this item, and assassins lose if they wait too long. Like they fall off later in the game, so. Assassins are looking pretty good. The upgraded item for Ornn. Support item changes. There's a lot. There's a lot of changes to this. Interesting that they think. Oh, okay. I was like, interesting they think Abyssal Mask is a support item because it's usually too expensive, but they actually nerfed its cost to make it a support item. It looks like so they don't want tanks building it, or if they do, they're making it cheaper for them. So this is now being pushed into a support item. It's losing 600 gold cost. Loses Catalyst of Aeons, which it wasn't that good for supports anyways. In exchange, it's Kindle Gem and Negatron Cloak. Negatron Cloak usually fucking sucks to build as a support tank, but Kindle Gem is fine. 700 gold combined cost, kind of blows. Loses 250 health. You gain 60 MR. This is just the support item for, it looks like, if specifically an AP champion is taking over the map. Still has the reducing magic resistance passive on it, but losing that many base stats for the increased damage, it's not that good. So yeah, this is specifically just like giving supports an early game option to build an MR item because they only really have AD, or they only really have armor items. So It's what it seems fine. I don't think I would be seeing myself building this on many champions unless specifically because AP champions weren't really out of control right now. Like mids aren't really like you're not seeing very mages mid. It's mostly like bruisers, tanks, and assassins, and then there's like two AP champions. Seen some in the jungle, but like I I don't think usually you just blow them up. They're usually not like a tank unless it's like Zac, and this doesn't work for Zac. It's like I don't like it that much. I don't think it's just an option. Wouldn't say it's a go-to. Arden sensors getting 200 gold cost reduction in exchange for losing 25 AP. Yikes. The combination is losing. All right, it's gaining Aether Wisp and Forbidden Idol instead, and losing an Amp Tome of AP. That's a lot. Losing 25% base mana regeneration. 5% movement speed. That's nice for enchanters. So they don't get blown up by the new assassins that are going to be taking over the game. Weird. Let me look at the attack speed change on this because it's going to be weird if they also hit the attack speed on Ardent Sensor when they're taking the attack speed from every AD item as well. Healing or shielding another ally enhances you both for 6 seconds, granting your attacks 10 to 30% bonus attack speed based on ally's level. Instead, it is now 15 to 30%. Okay, so they're giving 5 base attack speed, but it's not gaining anything later, and giving them additional magic damage on hit. Yeah. It's just weird. I mean, they made it a better early game rush, which means that they're looking at enchanters and they're looking at making them a little bit stronger. The ability power is going to lower the amount that the shield gives, but the passive on the shield, like the passive on the item is better early. Specifically, it's way better early. It's a literal Juggermob meta. Looks like for ADCs, it's Lulu Cog every game. It's Janna Cog. It's Janna Vayne. And you're just rushing this item. Normally, the only champion that was like really rushing this item was Milio because it was just good for his W and his E because he had two moves that were very effective with Arden Sensor. But every enchanter's building this first item now. It's back to being strong. Okay, so it's an Ardent meta. It's Ardent Juggernaut again. Twitches are back. Twitch. Oh my god, I didn't even think about it. Twitch also has AP ratios. Chalice of Blessing. This item is very similar to the Chalice of Harmony before, from like 4 or 5 years ago. Once again, before the item change, that would build into Athene's Unholy Grail. A very useful item. It was extremely powerful. Gave specifically this item was like busted on Soraka. And this item will be busted on Soraka too. Like giving her base health regen for base mana regen as a passive, like just buff that Soraka has to heal people using her health pool. So giving her health regen makes her get way more heals off. So, and it's only 900 gold. Most like the mana regen items for supports weren't good just on their own. This is like an extremely good. You could see enchanters building this first item. Like even if it doesn't build into their mythic, they might just buy this because 50% base mana regen means that you could take Relic Shield before you were getting punished if you didn't take like spell thieves on enchanters, but you can take Relic Shield instead and then go Chalice of Blessing. So and now you're a lot tankier as an enchanter. So that item is kind of nuts, honestly. Chemtech Purifier is going 200 gold cheaper. I think the change when they made it so that Chemtech Purifier doesn't get applied by the ADC anymore made it not really get picked very often. So it looks like they're just making it cheaper, and honestly, the only reason you're ever building this item is purely because you're the best person to apply the anti-heal as the support. So making it cheaper, even at the cost of lowering the stats, I think is fine. And instead, it's being given heal and shield power, which is just it honestly makes it better. These stats don't really matter. Ability power, losing 5 ability power doesn't matter. The 25% mana regen would matter if this item didn't exist, but it does now. So it being cheaper just means more access. Enchanters are usually the lowest gold role in the game, so and making their items cheaper, even at the cost of their stats, actually makes them stronger. This is a new item, Echoes of Helia. This is the item that builds out of Chalice of Harmony and Bandle Glass Mirror. That's the item that gives you shield power. And plus 400 gold, it gives you 30 ability power, 200 health, 15 ability haste, 125% bonus mana regeneration. Dealing damage to an enemy champion grants a soul shard up to 2. This is on Fiend's Unholy Grail. Under a different name, this is Fiend's Unholy Grail. Healing or shielding an ally, so dealing damage, you get soul shards. This is like karma, basically. You're thinking karma hits Q or auto attack. She has 2 stacks. If she presses E, she restores 20 to 100 based on allies' level health and deals 300 to 200 based on allies' level magic damage per shard to the nearest enemy champion. This is a god item. This is like Fiend's Unholy Grail was so busted for shielders that don't have heals, and this is as strong. This is so good. It's 100% exactly what I've been saying. It's 100% this Juggernaut, Ardent Sensor meta, Enchanter supports. Like the tank supports are fucking gone, dude. Like that. This is gonna be rough, and if you're not building or if you're not playing an Enchanter, like, and they're building these items, like the game is gonna be so hard to play. I mean, like, just think about this item at level 18. Like, even if the game went to level 18, which I don't think it happens very often, this item, when you deal damage to somebody, is gonna when you shield an ally, it's gonna heal them for 200 health and deal 400 damage to the nearest enemy champion on a shield, not a damage move. You're doing 400 damage to an enemy champion on a shield. That's crazy. That's gonna get nerfed. Like, I don't think that 200 damage at max level is crazy. It's not your level, it's the allies level. So it's like if you shield your mid laner and you're level like fucking 13 and they're level 18, you're gonna do 400 damage to somebody. Like, it's crazy. What you lose for finishing the item is you lose the health regen from the Chalice of Harmony and instead gain ability power per base mana regen. And I think that's fine. Disables Harmony. I think that's the previous one. Yeah, it disables Harmony. This item is crazy. Oh, it's a mythic. They don't say, they just say mythic passive here. They didn't say that it's a mythic. That's fucking good. It's so much. This item is so much better than Moonstone and Shirelia's. It's crazy. It's only 2,300 gold. Cry of the Shrieking City. That's a ludicrous. Look at how much a single item gives mana regen with an upgrade from Ornn. Like 225% mana regen. That's ludicrous. It's fucking crazy. Even Shroud is 200 gold cheaper. This is for the tank supports. If they hit the stats, they didn't hit the stats. It looks like that's actually just a flat buff to them. they hit the stats, this would be 100% pushing melees out of being support. But we got Life Wall Pendant, No Magic Mantle, and 800 gold instead of Aegis of the Legion. Just No Magic Mantle? Oh, Life Wall Pendant's a new item. Okay, so that's gonna have armor. And I was like, there's no armor in this, but it gives 30 armor just for completing. The passive, let's see here, when you engage has not been changed. It is now just it's just a cheaper mythic. It's 2,300 gold. Basically the same item except for they changed the combined components with Lifeall Pendant. Imperial Mandate. This item is dead. There's no reason to build Imperial Mandate over Echoes of Helia unless they changed it completely here. And even then, I still don't think it's Echoes of Helia is just so much better. 300. It's 2,300 gold. Builds out a Bandle Glass Mirror and Fiendish Codex instead of Kindle Gem. Has additional 15 ability power. Unique passive. Coordinated Fire. Has been so it before it was giving a large amount of damage in a slow. Now it gives less damage, and it gives and it does. They just nerfed it. They nerfed this item in exchange for 15 more ability power. Okay, this item is dead. Goodbye Imperial Mandate. Nobody's building it. Knight's Vow. Knight's Vow's gaining its armor back. That's really nice for it. I thought it's been a weird niche case where like nobody was building it because like they would build this like last item because it didn't have any actual defensive stats. They give it 25 armor back. That's nice. Lowered the cost by 100. Loses 50 health for 25 armor. That's worth. Loses 5 ability haste. That's fine. Losing 75% base health regen. That sucks, but honestly, it's still fine because you're not really thinking about how your health is regenning with this item. At this point, the your health regen doesn't really matter at this point in the game when you would normally build Knight's Vow, and now you can build it a lot earlier. Because most of the time, you take a fight and you're resetting. You're not actually sitting on the map regenning your health. So, uh, they changed the passive from post mitigation damage to pre mitigation. So instead, you actually take the full damage before it gets mitigated, and you heal for 10%. But that makes the armor useless. Why did they do that? They they added armor to it, but they made it so you take more damage for the person you put the passive on Knight's Vow. So you would it the armor doesn't matter. It doesn't actually help you. It's kind of dumb. You're taking more damage. Like you're actually taking a lot more damage. Post mitigation would be like every champion like on their own without building like defensive stats has like 60 armor and 60 MR or so like at like in like later levels, and you're not reducing damage by 60%. Like I don't think they tested this. This is going to be too much damage. I don't think they've tested this pre-mitigation, post-mitigation, because that just like that makes you're going to take like 100 or 200 more damage than you would take before. Like it's really bad. Lifewall Pendant is a new item. It builds out of cloth armor and ruby crystal for 350 gold. Gives you 150 health, 25 armor, and 5 ability haste. It's nice. Before, they would just build the Aegis and the Kindle Gem, and you couldn't afford. This is cheaper than Aegis, and it only really has armor, which normally in the previous meta would have been good, but with this new change where every ADC is doing magic damage, not a good item because only armor. You're just gonna be taking magic damage. Locket 300 gold cheaper. Doesn't have Aegis. But has the same stats, it looks like. Shields for a little bit more. Not really much. This is like this is negligible buff. But 200 gold cheaper is nicer. Mikhail's Blessing. 2,300 gold has been changed to Chalice of Harmony and Forbidden Idol. Is this a mythic? No, it's not a mythic. So Mikhail's Blessing has Harmony on it. So this is Soraka's. This is the Soraka builds this item and it's really good. I wonder if this passive Harmony can't be disabled. Like if you build Mikhail's and you have Echoes of Helia, does it disable Harmony on this passive as well, or no? I don't think it does. So you lose 50 magic resistance. Honestly, I don't think the magic resistance mattered for Mikhail's. You were not. It's like your MR doesn't matter. It's for knocking off a CC on an ally, and it gives them health. It gives them more health even. It looks like now it scales even harder. Uh, Loses 1% heal and shield power. That's a cool nerf. Like what 1%? Like that doesn't change anything. But this passive is really good. It's like losing MR doesn't really matter unless you're getting blown up. Like if you get poked or something, like you're gonna heal faster because you have these enchanters are gonna have so much base mana regen with these items. Moonstone Renewers, also 200 gold cheaper. Loses 5 ability power. Instead of healing or shielding an ally, chains to the nearest ally champion. So it's like AI heal or AOE healing. Excluding yourself, healing for 25 to 35% based on ally target level, or shielding 30 to 40% based on ally target of the original amount. That's a weird item. I they're like I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. AOE healing or crazy single target healing, and then you just are already a karma and you press RE. Like you don't really fucking need this. I I'm not too sure. I mean, like there might be opportunities where you could build this, but I just think Echoes of Helia is so much stronger. There's kind of no reason to build this. Radiant Virtue, 500 gold cheaper. It's a big change. 50 loses 50 health, loses 10 ability haste. And instead, when you cast your ultimate, you heal people for 2.5% less maximum health. Or no, you increase your maximum health by 2.5% less. So 12.5 instead of 15%, and all allies within 1200 heal only for 2.5%. And it also, as a mythic, it gives other things less health. So they don't want it to be a top and jungle item, but it's not a support item either. This isn't good for supports anymore. So they're just trying to get it out of jungle. They don't want Vi building it. They don't want Zac building it. But Zac hasn't been building it for a while. Redemption. Redemption is gains 50 health, loses 1% shield power. Again, why are you changing this number by 1%? It's so weird. It now is 20 heals 20 health more early game and scales better. It was already a scaling level. It was based on everybody's levels anyways, so and it has harmony in it. Seems fine, but still a later game option. You still want this like 4th or 5th item. Shrelias. They got to do something big to Shrelias, or Shrelias is never getting picked up again. 200 gold cheaper. Loses 5 ability power. Healing and shielding gives 25% movement speed for 1.5 seconds. Now it's 20% bonus movement speed instead of 25%. Item is dead. It's only good on like Rakan. And honestly, why would you ever go Rakan when you can go Echoes of Helia? Or I mean, why would you ever build Shrelias when you go Echoes of Helia on Rakan even? Staff of Flowing Waters, 200 gold cheaper, loses 15 ability power, loses 25% bonus mana regen, gains 5% movement speed. I'm assuming because they made it Aether Wisp. Yep. And it grants both. It gives more ability power. to both of you. It doesn't make up for how much you lose. You gain five more ability power early game. Whatever. Uh, Staff of Flowing Wonder was already an item that you were picking up specifically, like when you didn't actually have a hyper carry. You were building, like, or if your hyper carry wasn't strong, so you're building this to make it so that on the Enchantress you could actually shield like a AP champion and they would do better. So it's fine. Watchful Wardstone. Watchful Wardstone can only be purchased after completing your support quest. That's interesting. A lot of the times you could build it. You could build it like a minute before your support quest would actually finish, and then it would upgrade while you had it in your inventory. I did that a couple times, and then you would be able to put two pink wards down on the map. Now it gives 50% bonus or base mana regeneration. Base mana regeneration. What? I mean bonus. I don't know why it says base. This item can store up to 3 purchase control awards. It's the same. Grants 8% increase to bonus. Increase to wait what? What the? Grants an 8% increase to bonus health, bonus attack damage, ability haste, and ability power. They're just making it. They're making it less punishing for buying it, but you can't buy it until later because they made it less punishing to build it. I mean, it wasn't ever really punishing to build it. They're just making it better for buying it. And you can only buy it later. That's fine. Whoa, what the fuck? Wait, Watchful Wardstone doesn't automatically upgrade to Vigilant Wardstone? What the fuck? It's 1,200 more gold. This is where all those 300 gold reductions in all gold costs have gone. They're like, yeah, and now we're fucking gouging you for straight up 1,200 gold combined cost. Holy shit! As a support, you almost never have 1,200 gold in your inventory. I mean, it's like a 20% increase to your bonus health. Like that's good, but like Jesus Christ, this is expensive. Another 200 gold cost reduction on Zeke's convergence. Loses 50 health, gains 10 armor, loses 5 ability haste. And everything else is the same. They're making the tanks squishier. All the tank items are losing health. All the support tank items, they just consistently are losing health, and like that's gonna add up. I'm pretty sure there's like 300 missing health from items that tank supports were building before. Divine Sunderers nerfed. Let's see here, from 125% of base AD plus 6% of target's health to making it more of a it's not a tank counter. It's specifically for just champions that trade that style because it loses 2% maximum health damage in exchange for base AD. So you're not building this on like Poppy and then going tank. You're building this on like Fiora and still building AD items. Like that's what they're wanting. Fimbulwinter no longer gives you ever. Oh no, Fimbulwinter now doesn't consume your mana in order to pop the shield. Honestly, I don't. It was kind of negligible because of how much mana it was giving you before, but that's nice. Force of Nature, 100 gold cheaper, gains 50 health, loses 10 magic resistance. Passive absorb stacks is now from 6 to 10. What is passive absorb? It gives multiplicative magic damage reduction. Dissipate now grants 30 bonus magic resistance. I don't understand what it's at. Oh, it's saying like before you had to get hit with 6 abilities to pop it. Now if you get hit with 10 abilities, you gain this. Okay. It's like a side grade. I don't know. I think before it was giving percentage magic reduction. Now it gives flat. Tanks kind of like already like if you're an AP champion like a mage or something, a control mage, you couldn't really kill tanks. So this kind of it was probably because of this item, honestly. Gore Drinker, 100 gold cheaper, gives 25 bonus health or additional bonus health per legendary item. That's like nothing. That's not gonna change shit. It's just better for people who are already building it, but the same for anybody who isn't. It's not. That doesn't. The 25 bonus health doesn't change anything. Making people build it more. Hull breaker gains 10 attack damage. Why did they? What the fuck? They didn't say that they're it's 200 gold more expensive too. They're like they put it here instead of making it its own thing, and it gives you 5% movement speed. Lord Dom's regards deals increased physical damage. Instead is physical and magic damage based on maximum health. Yeah, every ADC doesn't build or doesn't do attack damage, like only just attack damage anymore. They do magic damage. Everybody does magic damage. So that way nobody can itemize. That's basically what they want. Like tanks can't itemize AD against an AD comp. You have to build both items because even though the enemy picks 4 ADs in a tank or something, like you have to build MR. It's so weird. I don't know why they want. Kind of dumbs down the game. Lost chapter. They're trying to help mages early. Okay, that should be good. Oh, it's cheaper. 1100 gold instead of 1300. Does it lose stats? Doesn't say it loses stats. If it doesn't lose stats, that's good. 200 gold cheaper for mages. A lot of times you have to overstay to hit your 1300, so being able to back a lot earlier means it's nice. Nice to have it, because that's the item that keeps you in lane. Last chapter. Ma is nerfed pretty hard here. Loses, it's 100 gold cheaper, but it has 25 more seconds of a cooldown, and it only lasts half as long. That's a pretty big nerf to Ma. Makes it less makes it easier to kill assassins with it. They don't that 5-second window was like pretty much just made it so like you had to burst through the shield. Now you can actually hold abilities to hit them when the shield ends. Rabadon's 5% bonus ability power, that's really good. When Lifeline triggers on Steric's Gauge, user will gain 25% increased size and 30% tenacity. For 8 seconds? That's fucking crazy. This item's so good. Steric's Gauge is busted, I think, now. This is so good. Before people, I mean, it was like not getting built before, so it's nice because this is gonna make it get built, and it's so good for bruisers. Like this is like 30% tenacity for 8 seconds is crazy. Because all bruisers are like fighting people at like 30% health. Like they'll get down to like nothing, and that's when they like win a team fight. All of a sudden, they'll just like turn a team fight that was lost around and win the game. Stridebreaker gets 60 attack damage, but doesn't receive or doesn't have anything else. That's not enough for it. They do well. The thing is they don't need to anymore. The reason that they were taking is because they couldn't get it from elsewhere. Now they can shift those runes over because you can if you know you're going to build Steric's Gauge by the time you actually need that tenacity. Like when you need the tenacity is when Lifeline is going to trigger. You don't need it anytime else. Triforce's passive is gaining 2 seconds. So I'm assuming that's the Spellblade passive. No, I think that's something else. I think it's when you I think it's the movement speed that Triforce gives or something when you make an attack. It's now 5 seconds instead of 3. It's nice. 5 additional attack damage, 5% attack speed. I think this is nice because honestly, Ezreal was kind of getting shafted by all these changes on his build, so he kind of gets to go back to building Trinity Force. Okay, we got some other early game adjustments here. Fountain mana regeneration is being changed by an additional 1% maximum mana. Means that you don't have to sit in Fountain as long. Normally people, like they instantly heal to full, but then they're like sitting there waiting for their mana. you get your mana faster. So it means that for specifically mana champions, because there's so many resourceless champions that get to leave the fountain like instantaneously after they reset, they now your mana champions get to catch up. This might save you a second in the fountain every time, but every single time you reset, that's a second that you're saving. I think it's nice. Homeguards kicks in at 14 minutes instead of 20 minutes. That's really good. Before, like, as soon as the tower plates fall, you have Homeguards. That's really good for mages, too, because mages are usually the people who want to make sure that they're not losing their tower. What is that? Why are you? Oh, you're crying. I had to zoom in on that. Blast cone. Oh, I remember reading about this. This is actually like a really big change to the game that like people are not gonna notice. But blast cone, they take 4 minutes longer to respawn or to initially spawn. Sorry. So blast cones don't show up until second dragon. I think that's like really crazy. Not being able to blast cone gank like at like 6 minutes or so. Like that's usually people always do that, and now it's 4 minutes later. Like that's gonna be pretty big for early ganks on bot lane. But I think it's a compensation change because I know an upcoming thing about how much more of a clusterfuck bot lane is about to become because they changed the TPs. So, but that's nice that we're gonna get ganked less. Usually, you use that people use the blast cone to avoid vision. Like it makes it so that if you blast cone over, you can get a gank off on bot lane, even though a ward might have seen you. Now, you're gonna get seen by a ward, which means that the ganks don't work. So people won't even go for them, or they'll go for their lane. Minions. So minions, except for the first spawn of minions, mid lane minions will meet at the same time as side lane. Oh, so before they were thinking about the first spawn of minions meeting. This is okay, and I was gonna say this was changing the jungle leashing meta, but they specifically were like, oh fuck, we didn't think about that people won't be able to leash their junglers. So now, except for the first spawn of minions, they no longer meet. This is nice. For controlled games, this means that people who are roaming can't get extra resources off by clearing mid, then roaming to a side lane and catching the wave. The waves are always meeting at the same time, means that they're not that basically that was like the optimal style. Even in pro play, you'd see like people who are trying to funnel resources. They're they got their bot lane mid, and then they go bot lane, or then they go to like a side lane and catch a huge wave. Now you can't do that. So it's making it so that the resources are more distributed instead of going specifically to hyper carries. Uh, they they're getting more distributed. They have to go to like laners basically instead of like sacrificing your top lane's CS. So I think that's pretty cool. Turrets. They're changing turrets to give them more damage based on their total AD. No, wait, champions now deal their total AD plus 60% of their ability power. Oh, before okay, they're making it so AP champions don't do as much damage to turrets because they're giving AP to ADs, so they don't want ADs to fucking destroy turrets. So they're just nerfing they're also nerfing AP. So like Vygar's and like Ziggs and stuff like usually could like absolutely shit on turrets. Now they are being nerfed. Turrets are gaining additional plating by a lot. Holy shit. So man, you're not taking plates often anymore. Like you're not getting like 3 plates. You're getting like 1 plate. It looks like is what they want whenever you're punishing somebody. Because before you were getting it was zero. It was zero extra resistances for one person taking it. Now it's 45 base resistances. That's gonna slow down turrets a lot on dying. So they don't. It's gonna be very unexpected that you take a full turret through its plates at 14 by 14 minutes is what they really want. So This is also coming as another thing because they don't want when people with 5-man bot lane to just take all of the turret plates. So they're giving 45 base resistances to it. So this is the big one for pro play, and this is also going to affect the game in a massive way. For the TP change a long time ago, I think it was like 3 or 5 years ago. No, it's got to be 5 years ago because I swear that like Dyrus was playing when this change came about. But they made it so that top laners couldn't TP bottom at like before 14 minutes, and now they've changed it so it's 10 minutes. That means that top lane 10 minutes is still laning phase. You're still in lane until 14 minutes. There's a 4-minute window where top laners are TPing bottom again. And that is probably going to happen at 10 minutes on cooldown. You're going to see the second that shit flips over, the top laner is going to TP bot, and both top laners are probably going to TP bot, and it's going to be a fucking fight. In compensation for that, or like that change, they're nerfing early TP cooldown until level 10. So like the TP's cooldowns are going to be like more disjointed, but you're still going to see top laners TPing at 10 minutes in bot lane. It's going to happen every single time. That's gonna be huge for pro play. You're gonna see pro teams doing that uh all the time. It's gonna be the meta, especially because of how like the bot lanes. It's an ardent meta with Juggermods. Like the top laners are TPing bot to try and shut that shit down before it gets out of hand. Trinket changes. Farsight alteration. Farsight will now provide vision over walls within 500 units. So literally, you can put the a blue ward, like a Farsight ward, next to a wall, and it sees over the wall forever. That's cool. That's an interesting new ward mechanic that you can kind of use. You can like set them up like more defensively so that they give you like vision. You can when you put them aggressively in a bush, they actually give you vision over the wall. So like I'm thinking like at the sides of mid lane, the two bushes. If you use a blue ward on the top end or whatever, you see that entire like hallway from like Raptor camp to the tower. I think that's cool. Farsight will now ping enemy champions revealed on the minimap. Is that only when it first? That's gotta be only when you first use it. Intruder alert. Upon detecting an enemy champion for the first time, Farsight will ping the enemy champion on the minimap, expand its vision radius to 800 units, then self-destruct. What the fuck? You used to kind of have them like as permanent vision. This means that they're not permanent vision, but people would clear them anyways. But it's like it's still weird that it just like fucking self-destructs. Weird. I could still see it being useful, but it's just still weird. Oracle Lens. The day you almost caught is the new passive. If the owner of Oracle Lens is actively hitting a ward, their team will now gain vision of the ward so they can completely clear it out. 2 seconds of vision will be granted since the last hit before Oracles ran out. So if you walk into a bush that has a pink ward in it, and you hit it once, and then you walk out of the bush, so like the Baron dances and stuff, where you can't really easily clear that, you don't have to put a ward in there anymore because when you walk out of the bush, the sweeper will still show the pink ward, so your team can clear it. That's nice. Oracle Lens now has 2 charges, but the recharge time is 160 to 100 seconds, and the duration is halved, basically, from 10 to 6 seconds. So before, with like 10 seconds, you usually clear 3 wards with it. With 6 seconds, you can clear at most 2. Honestly, it's going to be hard to clear 2 as well. You probably have to be an auto attack reset champion. You probably can clear 1. But you have 2 charges. That's kind of nice. The 2 charges makes it easier to gank, but for controlling vision, a little weird. That's a weird change. I don't think it makes this Oracle Lens any better or worse. pretty much the same. And we got some new skins: Snow Moon Ari, Snow Moon Morgana, and Snow Moon Varus. Morgana skin looks pretty cool. Kind of looks like Covenant Morgana, though. I think that's a skin. I think the Ari skin looks the best out of the three. But yeah, I mean, that's the patch notes. This is a really big change. It's a big shakeup. We'll see if that makes the game better or worse. I mean, it's a massive, massive change. In conclusion, my thoughts have to be that we're seeing Juggermaw back bot lane, where like you're seeing Kog'Maw Lulus, you're seeing basically Enchantress and Arden Sensor meta not hyper carries, but carries that scale with like Ginsu's Rageblade. Join my Discord and submit your games for the next VOD review.